Greetings gamers, I'm LotusCrane, and today I'll be reviewing Dungeon Fighter Online, a multiplayer action-adventure beat-em-up developed and published by Neople. It's currently free in the Steam store, though the game is supported by microtransactions and DLCs like most free-to-play games. It has a Metacritic score of 78, which I personally think is a little low. So as you can see, I've been playing this game for a while, level 48. I guess if you've only played the game for an hour or two, the beginning of the game is a little slow and wonky, and it takes a little while to get used to the really atrociously bad English of this game. I don't know that they actually hired any professional translators to do the localization. I think they literally just put the Korean script through Google Translate, and they didn't even do a very good job of picking which versions of translations Google Translate spit out. Like, for example, apparently no one knows the difference between a platypus and a raccoon in this game, so, I mean, and even in the original Korean, the story makes even less sense than most fantasy settings, so, but it's okay, no one's playing this game for the story, not even me, and I usually focus primarily on the storyline in games, such as they have, but this time you're just here to beat things up. So if you like Golden Axe, Guardian Heroes, what other games? The Dungeons & Dragons arcade games, then you'll feel right at home here. Let's see. Oh, you're probably wondering, how am I playing and reviewing a game that financially failed and went offline 3 years ago? You're thinking about when Nexon was the publisher / localizer for this game. They ran the game from the summer of 2010 to the summer of 2013, and they took it down, and then Neople said, wait a moment, you guys did something wrong, so they took it back, and in January of 2016, they re-released Dungeon Fighter Online for the US. Again, free in the Steam store, supported by microtransactions and DLC. Oh, if you're wondering, this game is called Dungeon & Fighter in Korea, and Arado Senki in Japan. I kind of feel like the Japanese version probably would go through trouble of hiring their own voice actors, but for the English version, they put bare bones minimum into localizing it, so all of the character voices are in Korean. So for any of you who actually played the old English localization by Nexon, and complained about how the US version was so many patches behind the Korean or even the Japanese version of the game, you don't have to worry. The version that Neople brought us, even though it has almost no localization effort aside from the menus being in English, the content is almost all caught up. Like, for example, I forget, I don't think female slayers were actually a playable class in the Nexon English version, but they're here, and not only are the female slayers here, but this is post the rebalance patch, so as you can see, I'm playing as the Demon Slayer subclass, which plays a lot like Ivy from Soul Calibur or Mitsuru from Persona Arena. And even though it's a Korean voice actress, that laugh sounds very much like Kodachi's voice from Ranma 1/2. Actually, I wonder, it might actually be the same voice actress who did the Korean dub of Ranma 1/2 for Kodachi's character. I mean, Kodachi, that's Japanese for like a certain type of short sword, not like a Western short sword. It's not like a Roman gladius. I mean, it's a single-edged, slightly curved sword. So think a very tiny katana. I guess halfway between a katana and like a wakizashi or something for reference. In the Korean dub of Ranma 1/2, they replaced not all, but a lot of the Japanese names with Korean equivalents, like, for example, Ukyo became Ugyong, which is a pretty common Korean name. But Kodachi, I guess since that's a very Japanese kind of weapon, and, you know, they're being World War II historical issues. I think they changed the name to Yuri, which means glass. So, even though there is an actual Japanese name Yuri, but that's something else entirely. There are a lot of words that are cognates in Korean Japanese, meaning they sound pretty similar, like yakusoku, Japanese for promise. You just contract the syllables, and it's yakusok in Korean. Anyway, it's a good time to come and play Dungeon Fighter Online. Besides the fact that it's free, leveling up, at least until 60-something or so, is going to be a lot less tedious than you remember it being 3 years ago. Because Neople, in order to entice people back, for at least your first character, I don't know if it's for every character, and in fact I only have the one character. I haven't made 4 or 5 characters like I did when I was still active in DFO 3 years ago. Well, I guess really 3.5 years ago at this point. I'll give you a returnee set. This is basically like living or evolving weapon and armor. So when you open the box, you have to be very careful to pick what you're going to be using, not just for your class, but for your class's advanced subclass, since that changes. Like the Demon Slayer goes from... Was I using light armor? I think it was light armor, and I go to heavy armor, so obviously, even though I don't advance to level 25, when I opened my armor box at level 15, I picked heavy armor because I didn't want to be using suboptimal armor after I advance. It doesn't matter, for levels 15 to 25, the game's easy enough where you can wear the wrong armor. It's not going to ruin you. Oh, by the way, I'm out of fatigue points, which means I can't actually do another dungeon, except, oh wait a moment, that's right, this game is supported by microtransactions and DLCs, and I may have gotten a few, so... Oh, look at that, more than half of my fatigue has come back, so I can go back and do another dungeon. But, rather than fighting those platypi that are mistaken for raccoons, because this game does not have a particularly good translation. Let's go back to a previous area. You know, I was surprised. I was worried that the graphics and music would seem really dated. I mean, this game wasn't cutting edge in terms of graphics even in like 2010, but I'm considering how few alternatives there are. This is still pretty darn playable. What? Why can't I enter? I swear I have fatigue back. There we go. I don't know if that was server lag or whatnot.
Excellent. Great. Good.
So the Demon Slayer has crazy range for a melee character. Decent speed. Decent defense too, since he uses heavy armor for whatever reason. On the old version I had a male and female gunner, 2 female mage characters because I wanted to try different advanced classes. Oh, that's right. They've made things a lot easier in terms of... Here, let me... So you can actually freely respec your skills, and you can also change your subclass. I don't know if that is still true after awakening. I'm at level 48. I'll be able to awaken or evolve my subclass at level 50. But at least from levels 25 through 49, You can definitely change your subclass. The first time is free, and I think additional times cost some... I don't know if it costs gold or Sarah, Sarah being the microtransactional currency that you purchase using real currency. But it is a lot more noob or experimentation friendly now. You don't have to worry that you're going to bork yourself by picking something either that's terrible or that just simply doesn't fit your playstyle.
Nice. Nice.
Listen to that laugh, that glorious laugh. Almost as good as mine. Oh, whoops! Whoa, that was close. That's right, sometimes you don't expect to see those little trap attacks. So if you have a really good memory, you can actually do the majority of moves in the... Oh, you know, I even forgot to use my buffs. Down up space, right space. So you can memorize a bunch of arrow and then Z, X, or space bar combinations for most of the moves in this game, like a fighting game. But there's entirely too many moves, so there's also a hotkey bar in the lower right. But, you know, I just realized, it's too late now, I've committed to probably going with this recording of this video. But in the upper right corner of the screen where my face is right now, for you viewers at home, there would be a little mini-map mapping out the rooms I've been in this dungeon. It's okay though, it's not super critical for you to understand what's going on in this game. And the maze mapping element in this game is very minimal. There's not any true dungeons or labyrinths in which you can get lost in this game. Let's see, what did I get? What was that? Okay. Actually, let's go ahead and get a little more experience for my enchanting profession by breaking these down. I would show you guys the arena PvP, except apparently I don't qualify for it yet. I don't know if I need to reach level 50 or what. I mean, you can enter the arena, but you can't actually participate in any PvP matches. I only saw a bunch of level 85, 86 players in there, so I don't know if there's some level minimum, which is weird because I was given a quest to try and win 3 matches in arena, but I guess that's a quest I'll have to put off until much later. Oh yeah, they always have constant special events and mini-games going on in DFO. I mean, you can sign around NPCs for a while and learn not particularly useful Korean that you can't use in real life unless you want people to think you're insane. Same goes for trying to learn Japanese from anime. I mean, yes, technically you're learning some Japanese, but no, you can't go around yelling at people like "Kondo koso owarida," like this time it's the end. Like they're going to commit you to a mental asylum. Alright, yeah, mini games. So like, we want a piece of the pie of people who play things like Princess Maker or Long Live the Queen. So they have this orphan child raising simulator, except this is pretty basic. It's not a true simulator. Not like all the famous ones. The funny thing is, the number of potential speech loops that the NPCs have are so limited that they constantly forget who your child is and will just reintroduce themselves or force your child to reintroduce themselves. So they're only willing to do so many part-time jobs, violating all sorts of child labor laws. So occasionally you have to play with them or send them on vacation. Oh, this is hyper irresponsible. And keep in mind, this activity is available from like age 1 for your child. What kind of irresponsible parents lets their child go into the deep ocean to collect fish? Especially considering there's sharks and oddly explosive pufferfish in here. I mean, it's kind of impressive that, I mean, granted she's 9 now, but this the exact same graphics and gameplay as when she was age 1. Oh, there's a shark. But yeah, it's impressive that she can hold her breath for this long, and also survive this many encounters with sharks and explosive pufferfish, seemingly with no long-term physical or psychological trauma. Yeah, this is like the worst parenting in the world. If it wasn't for the fact that you actually get some pretty useful items for your character by doing this, I would probably be too ashamed to do this. Anyway, this is a limited time event, and actually, by the time I plan to publish this video, this event will have been over, but I kind of feel like this has been popular enough that Neople will probably bring it back again, maybe like next year around November. I think this somehow qualifies as their Thanksgiving event. Or, I mean, granted, actually, maybe it's Chuseok, which is like the Korean version of Thanksgiving, except with less genocide of Native Americans. Yeah, I said it. Support the natives at Standing Rock, because clean water and cultural heritage is more important than more oil. Sure, let's send this child to a tavern. That's also totally irresponsible parenting. Yes, because you go into a tavern to sell wild strawberries. Huh. I guess you could make strawberry wine. But it's not usually the tavern owner who makes... It's not usually tavern owners who make the wine themselves. Oh, look at that! Because it changed age. Oh. Well. I wonder if these activities have changed now. You can trade in some of the coins from the jobs for items that mostly help your character. It's kind of weird, though, that her height hasn't really changed much. I feel like a 10-year-old should be a little taller than that. Like, really? She can't still be shorter than this stuffed kitten. And... I mean, this bed is huge. Also, this is the same bed she was using since she was 1 year old, so... No crib. We're evidently not afraid about baby rolling out and injuring themselves on the floor. Yeah... I hope this isn't reflective of, like, modern parenting in Korea. That would concern me greatly.
저는 항상 기다리고 있어요.
Anyway, because the returning weapon and armor they give you are so diesel, most of the dungeons as you unlock them the first time are a little too easy. So let's go to an area that is actually always a challenge, regardless of your equipment or level. Maybe because it scales, or maybe because the loot inside is so good, they have to make it challenging. Now this lasts for 30 minutes, but I'm going to stop after doing like one segment of it. So this area actually is kind of like a proper labyrinth. Oh, press the wrong key. That's what I get for X and C being right next to each other. Because that's how you get transported to an undersea area. By being tossed up into the air by, what would the term be? It's not a whirlpool. It's not really a tornado either. Water spout? Is that the right term? Pretty sure pufferfish don't actually explode. And again, video game monsters always take liberties with what may or may not be possible. I guess exploding pufferfish makes about as much sense as dragons or unicorns, so... Oh, whoops. Cooldown wasn't that good on that ability. I ran into the middle of them trying to use, I forget the name of the ability. A lot of the ability names are pretty generic sounding. But the one I have slotted to my G hotkey, the vertical slashing. Okay. I wonder if I force it to skip a phase, because it usually alternates the ceiling spike attack with the one where it spins around. Well, I guess we're not going to see that attack. Oh, alright, I don't have enough skeleton keys for that. Yeah, that key would have been more useful before I got to the treasure chest required 5 keys. I mean, that's typical of a lot of games though, right? Where what you get in a dungeon, or as the reward for doing a dungeon, would have helped you clear a dungeon in the first place. Alright, anyway, this has been Dungeon Fighter Online. LotusCrane approved. You know, when I saw that it was available again in the Steam store, and I decided to try it again after being unhappy about the way things ended 3 years ago, I kind of expected going into it that I would wind up saying LotusCrane meh, but here I am, 48, almost 49 levels, and I don't know, 20 hours later, and yeah, I'm kind of remembering why I like this game in the first place, and I like the gameplay improvements, the additional classes. I'm not thrilled with how terrible the translations and localizations are, but I mean, being that again, it's not that important, and I know some Korean anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. But overall, yeah, it's still very playable, and I'm sure if I could convince some of my friends to give this game another chance. I actually had some friends, Ruri and Pants Ninja, who used to play the old DFO with me, but I'm sure they're busy these days. I mean, I'll find someone to play this game with, probably. But yeah, LotusCrane approved. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. I'm LotusCrane, signing off.